by Kenyans. The signing of the bill was witnessed by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, National Assembly Speaker Honorable Moses Wetangula, with the House Majority Leader Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, and the Budget and Appropriation Committee Chairperson Honorable Ndindi Nyoro. The signing of the bill into law just a day after the complete of the vetting of Ruto's new cabinet nominees, containing what the head of state termed as a government of national unity. Here are the details.
Seated at the presidential palace strategically between the two arms of the government representatives, that is the executive and the National Assembly, the head of state appended a presidential signature into the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2024, making it officially into a law.
Now therefore, Your Excellency, I have the instructions of the Speaker of the National Assembly.
The signing of this supplementary bill comes in days after it underwent further amendments in the National Assembly due to the rejection of the 2024 finance bill by the public, forcing the head of state also to reject it in its entirety.
Listening keenly to the people of Kenya, who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill.
This comes in just a day after the completion of a vetting exercise of the Cabinet Secretary nominees in the National Assembly, who will be forming a broad-based government after President William Ruto started it in a church service in Kilgoris.
Sasa saa hizi tumeunda serikali ya kila mtu. Hakuna mtu sasa ya kulalamika. Hakuna mtu ya kupingana. Sasa sisi wote tusimame pamoja. Tupangane pamoja. Tuungane, tushirikiane. Ile sasa kazi iko ni vile tutashirikiana tutatue changamoto za taifa letu la Kenya tukiwa pamoja.
Dressed in a white linen trouser and a white shirt, colors symbolizing the presence of peace within the country, the head of state was offered a gift by a clergy of the church. He is expected to always be guided by it, making decisions and bring the nation together.
Na tunataka kukushukuru kwa sababu ya kuunda serikali ambaye iko sasa kila mahali, so that every part of this country feels they are part and parcel of this government. Tunataka kukuambia Your Excellency, tunakuunga mkono kama vile Julius amesema. Huyo mzee umemleta, alikuwa rafiki yetu kitambo, na wewe unakumbuka tulikuwa pamoja, wewe na mimi na wengine, na tumeshukuru umeleta yeye. So wacha serikali iendelee vizuri, tumalize maendeleo yenye imebaki, so that the next stage ikuwe ni rahisi sana. Your Excellency, tunakuunga mkono.
The key role that is now ahead of President Ruto is to place his house in order by rolling up the sleeves and putting his house in order. Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
In a disturbing manifestation of religious extremism, anti-terror police in Kisii town have apprehended 2 additional suspects linked to the recent stabbing attack at the Deliverance Church, where 3 worshippers sustained injuries. The arrest took place in the Numbia and Mesa regions, and the suspects have been transported to Serbia for further interrogation. Susan Nganga with the full report.
In what is believed to be religious extremism at its best, anti-terror police in Kisii town have arrested 2 more suspects in connection with the recent stabbing attack at Deliverance Church, where 3 worshippers were injured.
Kuna mtu aliingia abruptly kwa kanisa, akaanza shughuli kama mtu anajifanya mwendazimu. Kumwendea kama security officer ni kumtoa nje ndio tujue shida yake ni nini. Tukaona ameanza violence. So ile washirika kuona kuna commotion hivi, washirika wakatokea ili to arrest the situation. So hapo tu tukiendelea, kumbe alikuwa na kisu. So kisu alikuwa amefungia na handkerchief kwa mkono ya right, akaanza kutafuta venye anaweza dunga watu. So mimi kama ofisa wa kwanza ni alinidunga, alafu sasa nikaanza kushout ako na kisu, ako na kisu. Dakika hiyo ndani ya kanisa kulikuwa na police officers ndani, wakafika immediately wakamkamata, kisu ikapatikana, na sahi ako arrested, ako Kisii Central Police Station.
The arrest occurred in the Nubia and Mesa regions, and the suspects have been taken to Sabia for further questioning. The detained individuals, both young men, are believed to have ties to Brian Magari, the main suspect in the church incident. One of the arrested, Sahid Ali, has been described by his family as innocent, expressing shock over his arrest and claiming he has been wrongfully implicated due to his association with Magari.
Nilishangaa ama kusikia hati huyu ameshikwa pale msikitini. Kwenda msikitini kwenda kuuliza, nikaambiwa ati kwa shauri amesilimisha mtu.
Wakakuja wakapiga search, wakapiga picha zake, nini nyumba yake picha, alafu wakarudi wakatoka tu naye polepole wakaenda naye.
Tunafuatiliwa, ikijulikana jina yako ni ya Kiislamu, tunakuwa na shida sana, hatuwezi pumua. Sasa tulikuwa tunaomba kama serikali ione mbona sisi tunakuwa masuspect sana, na hapa Kisii special kama sisi tumeishi miaka mingi, tungekuwa wakorofi ingejulikana, tungekuwa ni watu wa kuuana ama kufanya hizi vitu ingejulikana.
Tensions have heightened within the local community, particularly among residents of Nubia, who are calling for a thorough investigation to clarify the circumstances of their arrest. A mosque in the Nubia area has drawn scrutiny, as one suspect alleged he was indoctrinated, raising concerns among locals about potential radicalization. This violent episode follows a previous altercation on July 20th at Nyabigeina Seventh-day Adventist Church in South Mugirango, where 10 people were injured in a brawl over a leadership dispute. Both incidents have raised concerns about safety in places of worship, prompting calls for increased security measures. Susan Nanga, GBS News.
Kenya's political parties are facing divisions within the country due to interest, leadership positions, wrangles, need for individual establishment, among other issues. The latest political party and coalitions to face division in the country are the United Democratic Alliance Party and the Azimio Coalition. What is cooking in the political field? Our political reporter, Davis Karani, gives us a glimpse of the latest political divisions that have occurred in the country.
It is called the tyranny of numbers. The show of power and might. The push, pull and grab of voters. And it is from here that our journey begins. They came together, fully united and organized, ready to grab a win that will later propel them to the house at the hill. And that is State House.
Simu ingine isipokuwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
A total number of 23 political parties marshaled up together and formed the Azimio Coalition, a bridge they hope will provide a highway for their entry to the top office in the country, and that is Harambee House. Raila Odinga won the ticket to fly the coalition's flag alongside his deputy Honorable Martha Wangari Karua.
Cometh the hour, cometh the lady. I have the great honor to announce that I have picked as my running mate and Cabinet Secretary for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Martha Wangari Karua.
The then head of state, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and had rolled up the sleeves of his shirt and was busy marshalling up support for Odinga to replace him in the presidential mansion he had leased for 10 years while his occupation time was at its tail end, and to him, he thought that Odinga was the right person to unseat him.
Tumesema ya kwamba tunataka candidate ambaye atasimama uchaguzi na kugombania kiti ya urais mwezi wa August, na kwa kauli moja tumeamua ya kwamba huyo si mwingine isipokuwa Raila Amolo Odinga.
It was this statement that breathed hope to all parties that were associated to Azimio, making some drop their interest like Kalonzo Musyoka and fill this promising vehicle that had halfway won the ticket, as Junet Mohamed confirmed.
Tumetembea katika nchi yote. Tumeenda huko Pwani, tumeenda huko Western, tumeenda huko Nyanza, tumeenda huko Northeastern, tumeenda Ukambani. Hii uchaguzi ya 2022 hii ya mwezi ujao, hii imeenda. Hii imeenda kabisa. Hii imeenda.
The overconfidence in the Azimio coalition made them relax, basing on the grounds of having the deep state and the system.
Why have we not gone to state house when we have actually won the elections through votes? This is because there is something which we were missing. And that's something which we were missing is called system. Some people are saying system is not important, but system is very important. And now we are with Uhuru Kenyatta, who is holding the system.
Little did they know that their opponent William Ruto was busy on the ground marshalling up voters to back him up through his bottom-up agenda that became more popular on the ground as what he termed as a lowly able in the society related with it fully, giving the immense hope to the DP, who was then sailing on a sinking boat.
Ule Madagaru amewahi kupigia kura Uhuru Kenyatta. Si hawa watu ni matapeli, si ni watu selfish, si ni wakora, si ni watu wanataka kuvuna mahali hawajapanda. Lakini mimi namwambia rafiki yangu rais, si namna hiyo. Mimi sina shada my friend. Mimi nilikusaidia, lakini mimi sikuulizi unisaidie. Mimi nakuomba tu kitu kimoja. Wewe ni waachie bwana kitendawili nipambane na yeye. Ama ni aje? Si namna hiyo. Tunaelewana? Huyu kitendawili tutamumalizia asubuhi na mapema.
And the political parties summed up their rallies in style. Azimio la Umoja occupied Kasarani Stadium.
Fellow Kenyans, Wangari and Amolo are not simply running to win an election. You are running to make Kenya a first-class global democracy and an economy.
And the Kenya Kwanza coalition took Nyayo Stadium by storm.
And that is why I stand on this podium today to tell the people of Kenya they should not be afraid. There is a God in heaven who is going to make sure Tuesday the will of God is going to happen.
Fast forwarding ahead, 1 week later, on the 15th of August 2022, Chebukati dropped the bombshell.
I, Wafula Chebukati, Chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president.
The Azimio la Umoja coalition, which had prepared for nothing less than a win, felt denied victory and proceeded to court to challenge the results. But even with the evidence they had, still the courts made a decision contrary to their expectation.
The election of the first respondent as president-elect to be varied under Article 143 of the Constitution.
Odinga once again chose another way, and it is from here that political parties started moving out of this coalition, and the first person to exit was Honorable Kivuta Kibwana, then followed by Odinga's running mate Martha Karua, who started skipping Odinga's organized anti-government demonstrations that were full of chaos all over the country, causing mayhem and distract. But 2 years down the line, Odinga's ODM party receives goodies from the government after his party officials were nominated to the cabinet by President William Ruto, a move that hammered the last nail of breakup in the coffin of the giant opposition coalition, leading to a total split within this giant coalition that saw Kalonzo Musyoka being denied to address the press at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Memorial Center. Part 2 of this feature story will be coming soon, but politicians who lead different political parties always play safe within themselves, just as football players say. But to the gamblers, this is a goal-goal situation among politicians. Davis Karani, GBS Live.
The Education Committee in the National Assembly, through their chairman, has today announced that the government has allocated funds to hire 46,000 new primary and secondary teachers. Julius Melly, the committee's chairman, assured junior secondary school teachers currently on contract that they will be offered permanent positions. Here are the details. Just a few months after the signing of a return to work formula with junior secondary school intern teachers, the hope for permanent and pensionable employment for the over 46,000 interns grows by the day.
Very good. There are those people who are not...
In a major development for the education sector, the Education Committee in the National Assembly has announced that the government has allocated funds for the hiring of the primary and secondary teachers. This move is set to address ongoing shortage of teaching staff and enhance the quality of education across the country.
Nenda kuajiri walimu asa wa GSS. Mimi najua wengi mmengojea muda mrefu.
The chairman of the Education Committee, Julius Melly, announced this during a press briefing earlier today. He reassured them that the new allocation of funds would pave the way for their transition from contract-based to permanent employment. This change is expected to provide greater job security and stability for these educators.
Sisi tumepitisha bajeti yetu na mimi najua yenye 46,000 teachers ya JSS will be confirmed now. They will be confirmed to be permanent and pensionable. Pia watarecruit 20,000 ya interns wengine. Na pia serikali imeajiri watu ya technical teachers.
In addition to the hiring of new teachers, the government's allocation of funds is expected to contribute to broader efforts aimed at upgrading educational facilities and resources, further supporting the overall improvement of the educational sector. Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. On that note, let us take our very first break. We'll be right back.
Having been there, what inspired you to start it? What did you see that was missing in our society that drove you to that point to start a home and a school?
Yeah.
What are those challenges that you face, especially from now, your family, your relatives, and the society at large, whereby when they look, unajua, it's easy for a woman to do such a thing, but not a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I was the one to let them understand that this is God who has called us to do this as a family.
How was it? Did you start a home and a school after you had married and started your own family, or the family came in later? And how was it for your wife? If is not carrying the same vision as you were?
Standing firm, I don't stand firm and I quarrel them, I tell them if you want to leave, leave. No, I still continue to talk to them so that they can understand what I'm carrying over my back. And later, my wife understood, my children understood, so this time they're happy with the whole family.
As a father of many, how now do you now sit them down with their goals, with their visions, and to ensure that what they want to achieve, you're able to support them differently?
The first thing is to let the people surrounding you, the family, understand what you are doing, where you come from, and where you are going.
Moving on now, you have started a home.
Yeah.
The struggles are there.
Yeah.
You're still holding on tight to the vision.
Yeah.
And here you are, 23 years later.
Yeah.
How has the journey been? What are the children that you look and help?
Leo tutakuwa tunaangazia masuala mengi kuhusu uongozi na maendeleo, na pia tutakuwa tunaangalia uongozi wa kuigwa na vijana. Kuna idara za serikali, kuna tume ya EACC, kuna idara za mahakama na kuna parliament, lakini tumeshindwa kutekeleza chapter 6 of Kenyan Constitution to the point that ya kwamba watoto wachanga ndio wanatuonyesha jinsi ya ndio wanatuweka katika mistari sabamba ya kuratibisha kifungu cha 6 cha katiba ya Kenya.
When we try tukijaribu sana kuangalia mambo politically na tuangalie vizuri pande hii nyingine ya kijamii, nafikiri hapo kuna kuwa na mwanya katikati, na hiyo mwanya ndiyo ambayo sasa imekuja kujazwa na hii generation.
What has it this far that now they are saying enough is enough?
Wakati Daktari William Samoei Ruto alichukua hatamu za uongozi, mnakumbuka ya kwamba the opposition walianza zile demonstrations zao za kusema the cost of living imeenda juu sana. Ijaribu kushukishwa kidogo ili watu wakuwe na muamana katika nchi. Na hiyo pia iliadhiri serikali yake pakubwa.
Sababu ya watu kwenda kwa maandamano ilikuwa kutoridhika na mambo yanavyofanywa. Wakati finance bill ilipitishwa na wakati tunaangalia sababu ya zenyewe kupitishwa, tunaona si sababu za kusaidia vijana.
What happened after the Kenya Kwanza imereduce still wanamwandamania?
So ile ambayo wananchi wa Kenya wanakasirika ni kwa sababu we are expecting leaders, and especially led by the president, to be giving us policies that can give effect to Article 43 of the Kenyan Constitution.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News at 9. 6 individuals known for their involvement in land fraud have been arraigned before a Milimani Chief Magistrate Court. They face a miscellaneous application for continued detention as investigations into their illegal dealings continue. The suspects were arrested over the weekend by a multi-agency team for forging land documents and committing land-related offences targeting public and private land within the public. Led by Mr. Wilhelm Kimutai, officer in charge of the Land Fraud Investigations Unit at DCI headquarters, detectives tracked down the suspects pursuant to court orders issued on the 1st of August 2024. The arrested individuals, Benedict Mwangangi Ngala, Joel Kaluki Mwangangi, Sylvester Mwanzia Mwanathi, Eric Omondi Ojwang, Vincent Boaz Owang, and Titus Wambua Kithuku were apprehended at various locations in Nairobi. The 6 land fraud suspects are currently in custody awaiting a ruling on their detention scheduled for the 6th of August 2024 at noon before Chief Magistrate Honorable Bernard Ochoi. In related incidents, Jama Hibo and Tasu Hibo were arrested for attempting to bribe officers from the Transitional Organized Crime Unit at the DCI headquarters with 50,000 Kenyan shillings. The duo were caught red-handed in the Huruma area of Nairobi County while trying to secure the release of human trafficking victims held at Isinya Police Station in Kajiado County. They were escorted to Muthaiga Police Station for further processing with the bribe money seized as evidence. Private sector activities in Kenya last month saw a sharp decline weighed down by Gen Z's countrywide protests that disrupted business operations. Latest Stanbic Bank Kenya's Purchasing Manager Index shows that the country's PMI in July dropped to 43.1% from 47.2 in June, while the PMI reading below 50 indicates a downtick and the deterioration in business activities. The figure in this case shows growth and improvement. Here is more on the same.
Protests in Kenya disrupted the private sector in July, leading to a marked deterioration in business conditions. The latest monthly private sector performance index by Stanbic Bank shows that the political instability led to customers' reluctance to commit to new orders, while the chaos somehow blocked access to businesses and prevented them from opening. These factors caused steep reductions in both output and new orders, while there was evidence of delays in completing outstanding businesses and receiving purchased items from suppliers. Meanwhile, input costs increased from the second month running, feeding through to a further increase in selling prices. That said, rates of inflation remained much softer than seen during 2023. The headline figure derived from the survey is the Purchasing Managers Index, dropped to 43.1 from 47.2 in June. Readings above 50.0 signal an improvement in business conditions in the previous month, while readings below 50.0 shows a deterioration. The deterioration in business conditions was due to rapid reductions in both output and new orders, in turn largely reflecting disruption caused by protests and political instability. A lack of money in circulation and cost of living pressures also contributed to decline in demand and business activity. Hilary Kabila, GBS News, Nairobi.
Siaya Women Representative Dr. Christine Ombaka has challenged Kenyans to use numerous affirmative action funds to empower themselves economically. Dr. Ombaka said that the funds, namely Youth Enterprise, Uwezo and National Government Affirmative Action, were all meant to help Kenyans improve their lives, hence the need for all to apply. She was speaking to the media after the disbursement of more than 7.4 million Kenya shillings to 75 self-help groups from Gem constituency. The event was held at Nyawara Community Hall in the central Gem location. Umbaka noted that the employment opportunities were scarce nowadays and the only route towards economic empowerment was business. She, however, called on those who benefited from the funds to ensure that they pay back so that others can equally benefit. In September last year, the government released 1.5 billion Kenya shillings to support affirmative action groups in the 47 counties on various programs. The funds were to cover school bursaries for learners from vulnerable households as per mandate of the National Government Affirmative Action Fund.
I want to appeal to all Gem people, and in Siaya in particular, that there are so many different types of funds that they can apply and utilize for income generating activities. Gov Fund, which I manage through my office, is not a loan, it is a grant. This is the one that we give to women groups, to youth groups, and to people living with disability, or those groups that are doing biashara. I want to encourage them to keep on applying. It is a grant. That means you do not return any interest to anybody, and it's not a loan. It is just goodwill, work hard, and again, if you work very well, you'll get it again. Uwezo Fund, Youth Enterprise Fund, and Women Enterprise Fund, these are funds that are given to business groups, but they are on loan basis. But the loans are not paid with interest. You are given 6 weeks within which to settle once you receive the fund. And once you are ready, after 6 months, you start paying back the loan. But there's no interest. That's why I'm taking this opportunity to appeal to our people in Gem and in Siaya in general to apply for Uwezo Fund, for Youth Fund, for Women Economic Enterprise Fund, and utilize that to empower yourselves. We want you to go into full-scale business because we know that there are no jobs. Young people are unemployed and jobs are not anywhere nearby. All that we can do today is to go into business. So please apply for these funds and make sure that you empower yourself economically. I'll appreciate that because that's the duty of the woman rep, to sensitize wananchi to know that we have funds ready for them.
Security has been beefed in Narok Town following a series of killings in Narok Town and its environs in the recent past. This comes in the wake of a tragic incident where a 38-year-old woman was killed, who was a vegetable vendor, was killed at her business premises near Altalet Mall in Narok Town. The shocking incident has prompted a strong response from local authorities, who are now taking urgent measures to address rising concerns about safety in the community. Meanwhile, the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya has donated tools of trade to 21 people living with disabilities in Navakholo sub-county, Kakamega County. The tools, worth a total of 800,000 Kenya shillings, included hair salon kits, welding tool kits, carpentry kits, and livestock in form of a check, among others. Here is Tabitha Nyarinda with more on the same.
At a baraza held at the Olekonyo Recreation Grounds in Narok Town, Commissioner Kipkech Lotiatia announced that 52 individuals suspected of engaging in criminal activities have been arrested. The commissioner urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities to the authorities.
Jana naambiwa kulikuwa na watu karibu 50 ambao waliweza kunaswa, walipatikana kwa mali ambayo maeneo ambayo ni kama walikuwa wanataka kutekeleza mambo ya uhalifu. Na muendelee hiyo crackdown operation iendelee. Ukiwa na habari, nataka niwakumbushe pia wale wadau wote, aswa wazee wote wa vijiji na nyumba 10, nyinyi kutambua tu na kupasha habari. Hata ukihisi kwamba mambo sio sawa, ukihisi kwa kama huyu bwana vile anatembea tangu aje hii kijiji, tunaona mambo yake ni kama hivi tu, piga simu.
Commissioner Lotiatia emphasized that many criminals tend to blend in with the community, making it crucial for residents to be observant and reminding everyone that ensuring community safety is a collective responsibility.
Sisi vile tumeelezwa, ni sisi wote tunahitaji kufanya kazi pamoja na kwa karibu ili tulete mambo ya usalama. Na pia ni mzuri sisi kama watu wa Kenya wote tujuane ni nani amekuja hapa, nani haswa wale wageni labda kama hamjui wanafanya ile biashara wanafanya wamekuja kufanya hapa. Sema sisi tujue, alafu wale vitengo ambao wanafanya kazi washughulikie.
Narok Peace Committee Chairman Joseph Kireu echoed the call for increased security, particularly during the night time, citing a recent rise in violent incidents near Olekonyo Forest. He urged residents to familiarize themselves with their neighbors and be cautious of any unfamiliar individuals.
Vijana wetu ni watu wa kutembea usiku. Nataka kusema kwamba naomba security wakati ya usiku, kama kufika masaa mengine ambaye mtaweka nyinyi wenyewe sehemu hii kama msituni, watu wasipitie, kwa sababu hapa ndio watu wanasema. Na nataka leo tujuane, wewe ujue mwenzako ni nani.
Meanwhile, while distributing the tools applied for by beneficiaries, NFDK Programs Officer Amos Okeo asked beneficiaries to utilize the toolkits to generate income and support their families. He asked other persons with disabilities to apply for support from the fund, while asking those who have benefited to be ambassadors to those who are yet to benefit.
Tumesaidia watu 21 na vifaa za watu 800,000. Na tunaomba wale wamepewa hizi vifaa, tafadhali tunaomba watumie vizuri na wawe ambassadors wema, waambie wenzao ambao hawajawahi saidika.
The chair of Navakholo Disability Initiative Group, Brothers Wachuli, called upon the government and other willing partners to join hands with the fund in order to support many other persons with disabilities to sustain their families instead of begging in the streets, noting that with the toolkits, beneficiaries will afford basic necessities and cater for their families.
Wakiapply vifaa vinasaidia, unatoa hapo mambo ya school fees, mambo ya chakula, hata kuna wengine walemavu ambao wako kwa medication, inawasaidia kununua matawa. Naomba partners wengine washirikiane na National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya.
With improved resources and support, beneficiaries are better equipped to build a sustainable future for themselves. Tabitha Nyarinda, GBS News.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our news segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick commercial break.
When we talk about health, about menstruation health, what does it mean?
Because women are uniquely made, they have something that is called periods, or they menstruate.
That makes us unique.
Every month and menstruation is very special and pure. When I was growing up, when I started, nobody was talking about it. I only learned when I had my first period, which is called menarche. I am called, I had reusable pads. Our pads are reusable because they are made of cloth. Yes. If we didn't menstruate, they would not be there. So I tell them, boys, you would not be here if there's no menstruating. So how many of you would like to be fathers one day? All of them. So cramps is normal. If you can tolerate, you just try and vumilia. The same towel, face towel, you can dip it in warm water and just place it on your stomach if you are at home.
Right now she's in her early 30s. When she's on period, she gets mad.
You see?
Mental disorder.
She's proposed to, but she can't say yes because her uterus was removed, her ovaries.
Oh my God.
Without her knowledge when she was young.
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth.
그리고 우리가 느끼는 그 예수님을 성경을 통해 느낄 수 있어서 너무 감사합니다.
And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins.
십자가에 못 박혀 죽어 죄의 형벌을 당하셨고,
and he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins.
무덤에 들어가셨다가,
and he was put into the tomb.
사흘 만에 부활하셨습니다.
and resurrected in 3 days.
이것이 우리가 말하는 복음입니다.
This is the gospel that we speak.
예수님께 우리 죄를 위해 죽으신 이야기.
About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified.
우리 죄를 담당하기 위하여 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으셨습니다.
He was crucified to pay for our sins.
예수 십자가에 못 박혀 죽으심으로 우리 죄가 분명히 씻어졌는데.
And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean.
참 안타깝게도 많은 사람은 여전히 죄인이라고 말합니다.
However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and now to matters international news. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned violent protests against asylum seekers as far as right thuggery following an attack on a Rotherham hotel. He warned participants that they would regret their actions and face legal consequences. Starmer further emphasized that such violence did not represent the UK vowing to stop it, clarifying that misinformation surrounding a recent knife attack was unacceptable. He additionally underlined that it was not a protest but rather an organized violent thuggery that would not be tolerated.
We condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law. The police will be making arrests, individuals will be held on remand, charges will follow, and convictions will follow. I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online. There is no justification, none, for taking this action, and all right-minded people should be condemning this sort of violence. We've seen Muslim communities targeted, attacks on mosques, other minority communities singled out, Nazi salutes in the street, attacks on the police, wanton violence alongside racist rhetoric. So no, I won't shy away from calling it what it is, far-right thuggery. Whatever the apparent cause or motivation, we make no distinction. Crime is crime, and this government will tackle it. I'm determined we will do whatever it takes to bring these thugs to justice as quickly as possible. If you target people because of the colour of their skin or their faith, then that is far right, and I'm prepared to say so. But it doesn't matter what apparent motivation there is. This is violence, it is not protest. It doesn't matter what the motivation is. The motivation for the vast majority of people in this country is to see their streets safe. And that's what I'm determined that we will deliver. We will do whatever it takes to ensure that the message is absolutely clear that if you're taking part in this violence, you will regret it.
Nigerian protests against the escalating cost of living have intensified, leading to significant unrest and a heavy police response. Demonstrations began on the 1st of August 2024, with thousands taking to the streets in various cities, including the capital Abuja, to voice their frustrations over the economic hardships and government mismanagement. These protests have been fueled by the rising inflation, which reached 40%. The recent removal of fuel and electricity subsidies have played a major role in exacerbating the financial strain on the citizens, further leading to the dramatic escalation of the condition over the weekend, through the police reportedly arresting nearly 700 nationwide. Here is the full report.
At the Nigerian National Stadium, where dozens of protesters had gathered, police officers were seen firing tear gas to disperse the demonstration shortly before hooded operative believed to be from the Nigeria Secret Service arrived, according to the several protesters, journalists, and video shared with the AP. The Nigerian Department of State Services, whose operative quickly dispersed the protesters and then fired gunshot at the journalists who are still at the venue. A video shot by one of the journalists showed the gun-wielding operative chasing people in the front of the stadium. Their vehicles, at least 5 in number, were parked alongside those of the Nigerian police. At least 31 cases of attack against journalists, including 11 arrests, have so far been recorded since the cost of living protesters started, according to the West Africa Focus Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development. The Nigerian police, meanwhile, say 7 people have so far died during the protest, and none of them was killed by security forces. Protesters have been shot at the country, including during the deadly 2020 demonstration against police brutality.
Former President Donald Trump praised Russian President Vladimir Putin for a recent prisoner swap, calling it another great deal, at a rally in Atlanta where he criticized the Biden administration for releasing some of the greatest killers, questioned it as a set of bad precedent. The swap involved 26 individuals and was the largest exchange between Russia and the West since the Cold War. Trump also mocked Vice President Kamala Harris as a low IQ, that is, intelligence quotient individual, same time challenging her to a debate on Fox News, further labeling Harris as incompetent in handling the border crisis. It is worth noting that the U.S. presidential election is scheduled for November 5th, 2024, with Trump as the Republican nominee.
Congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made? Now look, we want to get people in. You know, we got 59 hostages. I never paid anything. They released some of the greatest killers anywhere in the world, some of the most evil killers they got, and we got our people back. But boy, we make some horrible, horrible deals, and it's nice to say we got them back, but does that set a bad precedent, Bert, right? Does that set a bad precedent, Bert? President Xi of China said, oh, good, we have another one, a low IQ individual. They love dealing with low IQ. They love dealing with low IQ people, and they got him here, I'll tell you. We got them all. She is terrible. She's worse than he. I think she's worse than him. By the way, they really took it away from the guy, right? I don't feel sorry for him because he's a bad guy. You know, he's weaponized the whole thing, and nobody's ever done that in this country. But he's a bad guy. But people feel sorry for him. They did a coup. He just doesn't know it. They want to do another one. You know, we're doing one with Fox if she shows up. I don't think she's going to show up. She can't talk. She can read a teleprompter. I'd give her about a 6 on a scale of 10, 6.
Violent clashes erupted in Liverpool on Saturday as right-wing protesters confronted police following the stabbing deaths of 3 young girls in Southport. The protest, which spread to multiple UK cities, resulted in injuries to police officers and damage to property, with the 2 officers reportedly hospitalized after being hit by the projectiles. Misinformation about the suspect, a 17-year-old of Rwandan heritage, incited further tensions, leading to attacks on local mosques, prompting the Muslim Council of Britain to call for action against rising far-right radicalism and Islamophobia. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius met with Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro in Manila to reaffirm Germany's commitment to a defense cooperation pact. This comes amid rising tensions in the South China Sea, where the Philippines have accused China of aggressive action. Pistorius highlighted the importance of adhering to international law, referring to the 2016 Hague ruling against China's territorial claims. The ministers discussed enhancing military cooperation, aiming to finalize the defense pact by the end of 2024, marking a significant step in strengthening bilateral ties amidst regional security challenges.
The procurement of transport aircraft. We have made good progress on these matters in our talks. Third, we want to further expand our training cooperation as well as our bilateral activities. This includes talks of experts level. To boost our relations in these areas, we plan to sign, as we just mentioned earlier, a bilateral arrangement shortly. Bilateral cooperation is crucial for both the Philippines and Germany. It also sends a clear message to our partners. The countries advocating the rules-based international order stand together.
In this realization of the upholding of...
We are well aware that
thousands of pro-Palestine demonstrators marched in London on Saturday demanding a ceasefire in the 300-day Israel-Hamas war, carrying banners disapproving child casualties and the occupation. A Stop the War coalition activist accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of escalating the conflict after recent killings of Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Independent Member of Parliament Rihanna Ali also alleged British politicians were influenced by the Israel lobby. Iran and Hezbollah vowed retaliation for the killings after the war, which began in October 2023 after Hamas' attack on Israel.
Against the far right and everything they stand for.
We don't have British patriots. When I stood in the parliamentary election in Bradford South, I ran on a slogan, it should be Britain first, not Israel first, because our politicians are paid for by the Israel lobby. Tommy Robinson was getting the order of £10,000 a month from Robert Shillman, who's director of the Friends of IDF. These far-right groups, they are legitimate grievances of the native English population. There's no doubt about that, and they're entitled to have their grievances. They are, however, focusing on the wrong enemy.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That international news brings us to our sports news. Let's get sporty. . ' 5 coaches began their journey to obtain the CAF B license on Monday at the Kenya Institute of Special Education. This marks the 6th CAF B course run by the Federation, highlighting the ongoing commitment to coach education and football development. The diverse group of participants includes 2 teachers, Jerry Opondo from Ambira High School and George Ojwaya from Kombani Youth. Their inclusion underscores the importance of Football for Schools program, which aims to enhance football knowledge among teachers. These initiatives provide crucial training to coach educators, promoting better player development from the grassroots level. In addition to participating in CAF-accredited courses, these teachers have access to the Football for Schools application. These tools allows them to incorporate life skills into their training sessions, ensuring students gain both football knowledge and broader personal development. Over the coming weeks, participants will undergo intensive training covering topics such as tactical analysis, player development, and modern coaching methodologies. The 4-month course will be conducted under the expert guidance of coaches Salim Ali and Musa Otieno.
Thus, we are coaching the top league, but through these programs, we can manage to get the message downwards. And at the same time, when you get the message downwards, because then there's a national team under 20 boys, and there's the ladies who recently qualified for the World Cup. And if you see when the national team under 20, they've been doing very well. That is because of the program that the Federation is bringing to us, and we are triggering them down to our coaches. So for me, attending this course B, this is a bridging course to me, because I did a CAF B in 2010. But because of the new system and the new style of empowering coaches that the Federation has brought, I've decided to come and do the bridging so that I can go to A and get more education, at least to lift the standards of this country's football. What I expect is that through this education, I know I'll get out more than I came in. And I know through being taught here how to coach, I know I have a team, as I've said, I have a team, a grassroots team, of which I know I'm impacting the knowledge to my younger coaches, and at the same time, I'm imparting the knowledge to my senior teams. There's no end when it comes to learning. You see, when you are a player who has played in this country, an ex-player, you need this knowledge so that you can impact it to the younger boys. Without this, you'll go nowhere with only your experience. So you need to have experience and you need to learn too.
I did my CAF C 3 years ago, and we are expecting a lot. There is individual benefit, and then there is the football benefit in the whole country. Personally, the benefit I'll get, I take it back to the grassroots, because I am a grassroots coach. There are so many things to be done at the grassroots. As you can see, we lack the knowledge of.
So from my end, I think it's a win-win for me as a coach and to the players that I'm going to meet, because I'm going to impact their lives positively based on the skills and the knowledge that I'm going to acquire over time when I'm going to be attending.
Kenya Harlequins are the 2024 Kakamega Ingo Sevens champions after defeating KCB 17-12 in an entertaining final at the ASK Kakamega Showground. Harlequins suffered a slender 17-12 loss against Cabra Sugar in the final last week, but made amends by dispatching a resurgent KCB side with a similar scoreline in Kakamega. The National Sevens circuit takes a break before heading to the 3rd round in Kisumu, Dallas Sevens on August 17th and 18th at the Mambo Leo Grounds, Kisumu County. Here are the details.
7-star Elvis Olukusi opened the scoring chart for the Bankers immediately after the kickoff with a powerful run to touch down the 5-pointer. Levi Amunga added the twos for a 7-0 lead. KCB's attacking prowess resulted in yet another try from Olukusi. The conversion sailed wide, 12-0. Amon Wamalwa's magical run bore fruits for the Paul Murunga-led Harlequins. Teaming with Albert Walela and easily tried to take matters to 12-7 at the breather. Upon the resumption of the second half, Harlequins seemed to be more clinical, pitching a series of attacks at KCB yard. Well-coordinated plays and solid defense kept the Harlequins at bay throughout the game. Their efforts were rewarded after former Homeboys RFC speedster Brian Ratila crossed over the whitewash to level the scores 12-12, forcing the game to head into extra time. Harlequins halfback Lark Dewald did the unthinkable, running over the try box to land the winner, sending the fully packed Kakamega Showgrounds into jubilation. In the Division 2 category, Zetech Oaks were crowned champions after beating Kabarak University 33-7. Shambere RFC won the ladies category after edging Blackrock 12-5. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
That sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Here at GBS News 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.